real just hatred for the people we talk about. Not Bruce Lee.
No, yeah. It's...
Come with me if you want the punani.
Get to the punani!
To the punani.
You ugly punani.
Oh, shit.
So... You guys just walked in on it. There's a song about the punani.
Oh, don't give it all away yet.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it. We get there.
Look,
we're gonna get there.
It's a weird roundabout twist and turn to get there, but
today on the Kooks, Cranks, and Iconoclast podcast with me, Mike,
Matt,
and J-Lo.
Hey,
we're covering the one, the only, the legend, the dragon, Bruce Lee.
Absolutely. We're going to try not to break our wrist on this one because we're really having a good time on this one.
Yeah, this could turn out to be a pretty fun episode.
Yeah.
Or it will be. My God.
So throughout this, we're going to kind of try to cover his career, his marriage to his wife, the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows, his death.
Good thing he was married to his wife.
Yeah.
Someone else.
Right?
That could have got confusing.
Yeah, well, the story about that is also a little... Anyways, and then some of the Tao that accompanies his Jeet Kune Do. Yeah. Way of the intercepting fist. So, if you're a big fan of 1970s Kung Fu or martial arts films, any of that stuff like we are...
Bruceploitation.
Or Bruceploitation.
Who we are all victims of, gladly.
Yeah. Also, I guess we are now. And if you grew up in the same era that we all did, you also probably at one point in your life wanted to be a ninja. And we're going to talk about that a little bit as well. Okay.
Man, how is it that the Satanic Panic and the ninja craze happened at the same time?
Are they mutually exclusive?
Clandestine operations.
I heard they recently decriminalized ninja stars in Indiana.
Coming back.
Oh my God, dude! It's like Upright Citizens Brigade is coming to life
instead of American Ninjas, Indiana Ninja.
Yeah. Indiana Ninja Jones and the Temple of the Lost Fart. Anyways, that joke didn't take. I'm sorry, guys. We can jump right into the bio. So Bruce Lee, aka Little Dragon, aka Mo Si Tung, which is also that's what his sister called him.
Mousy tongue.
Mo
Si
Tung,
like mouse a tongue.
Maybe.
Huh, that's weird.
Maybe
I only said mousy tongue because I've heard people mispronounce mouse a tongue as mousy tongue.
Well, it almost sounds like Mao Zedong, but we'll get to that guy later.
Or that's
and his involvement.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Anyways,
sorry, Chinese is not our first language here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'll
please forgive us.
That.
Yeah, we're
trying.
My Spanish teacher in high school was Cantonese. And she never taught me any Cantonese. That's what she should have been teaching. Fuck, that would have been great.
Yeah, if only they could see the future.
Yeah, well.
Spanish teachers
in Andalusia. So anyways, born November 27th, 1940. He's older than Dad.
Really?
Yeah.
Would be,
yes.
Yeah.
And in San Francisco, California.
Ooh. Oh, wow. Not a lot of people know that.
He's an American, man. He's one of us. And he died July 20th, 1973 in Kowloon Tong, Hong Kong.
The same age
of Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
32.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, missed it by one.
Well,
the Kowloon walled city. That's a crazy place, man. It's one of the last I heard. I might have, I don't know, changed a little bit in the last few years, but in the last decade or so, it was like a refuge for outlaws and pirates and gangsters, etc.
Well, you know, once the English left, things changed and the Communist Party came in there and they like money. Yeah, they like money.
History
but they don't like, anyways.
They don't like to say they like money.
Yeah. His name, Bruce, was actually an adaptation of Bruce Lee is actually an adaptation of his name. The part Bruce was rumored to be given to him by the nun that helped take care of him after he was born. His birth name is Li Junfan. Although he was born in the U.S., his family had elected to move back to British Hong Kong because all their family and connections and all that stuff were there. And at the tender age of 3 months old, he was already learning a script about being a baby. And he was very involved.
The role he was born to play, literally.
Right?
Yeah, his dad was a Chinese opera actor.
And
wow.
So, you know, a little bit of flair of the dramatic runs in the family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He'd been in lots of films, feature films, commercials, stuff like that. By the time he reached 20 years old, he had actually been in 20 films.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Take that, Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, so I mean, he's like a real Hong Kong Webster.
He's like a Hong Kong version of Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, or if Justin Timberlake got on rooftops and beat the ever-loving dog shit out of people
in movies,
but in real life, because that's what Bruce Lee did for fun.
No, I don't think so, man. It's not what I heard, but we'll go on. We'll go on.
Anyways, his first film appearance after being a 3-month-old and all that jazz, he actually got the part that we all came to learn about. The fun stuff is when he started learning about kung fu and other martial arts styles, Tai Chi, stuff like that.
Yeah, he practiced Tai Chi since a very young age with his father.
Also very much into boxing.
Yeah, he went to a Catholic school for a while and beat the shit out of a couple white
priests?
kids who used to. Oh. Maybe. Knowing how they operate.
We just go, we're going to take the, you know what? We're not even going to take this up a gun. We're going to go take this to the ring.
Yeah. Yeah, he beat the shit out of a couple white kids who would, like, you know, pick on him and shit. Like, being in a Catholic school in, you know, Hong Kong. Can't be easy.
Uh-oh.
Sorry.
That's cool. That's me. That's good news. We're going to leave that in. That's good news, guys. That means that beer is cold. He spent several leisurely evenings at street fights or on rooftops beating the ever-loving shit out of people. And in 1959, he moved back to the U.S., settling down in lovely Seattle. The bluest skies I've ever seen in Seattle. Yeah, that. Oh, she thinks you're Bobby Sherman.
Oh, I thought that was the guy who beat Mia Farrow.
Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, of course, yes.
In 1961, he enrolled in the University of Washington, Washington State, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where all your dreams come true, because Washington State.
It's a great place. I've been there a couple times.
Yeah. To make a little extra cash while attending school and waiting for his acting career / movie career to really take off in the U.S., he opened up a dojo inside his house. You might say he worked out of the home. He actually got quite a few people, students in there. Not college students necessarily, but his own students. And he's actually been praised with his patience, I guess, for the work that everybody's got to go through because, you know.
It's being a sensei.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everyone.
Or a sifu, if you prefer.
Yeah, not everyone is really good at stuff until they do it, right? No one knows how to play Irish football until they actually go out there and learn the game.
There's a lot of rumors out there about how he was more or less a butthole.
Yeah.
But from what I saw on the film about him teaching Jeet Kune Do, he was actually very patient.
He had a bit of an attitude, and he was known for it, but it's mostly because, A, he paid the cost to be the boss. He put up with a lot of shit
He
to
did.
get where he got. And he's also one of those people that I feel more and more empathy with as I age, who do not suffer fools lightly, and they will let you know if they do not like you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's not so much just not having a filter. It's just he knows what to say.
He didn't put up with BS.
Yeah.
So later in 1964, he opened up a second school in lovely Oakland, California, because, you know, Oakland is for lovers.
Mm-hmm. And MC Hammer.
That's right. The same year, he gained notoriety because he had attended with his class the Long Beach International Karate Championships, plural. He ended up giving demonstrations and speaking. His class actually turned out pretty good, man. They took home quite a bit of brass. Quite a bit of metal. This gained him real notoriety. People were like, man, this guy knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. Look at him.
He's so young, though.
We got to get on his bandwagon or his bandwagon is going to drag us through the fucking mud.
Oh, man, a lot of people instantly saw him as a golden goose, no doubt.
Oh yeah.
They saw that he was going to make money, or he was going up in the world.
If you're spending time down there in Long Beach, man, like, you know, people come watch stuff, you know, they see stuff. And this is like the ironic or pivotal moment, the touchstone moment, I guess, in his life where like the hard work paid off. And it's like, well, I know a little bit about acting and I know lots of martial arts and I'm good at my job. And finally, I'm going to luck and opportunity are going to clap hands together here in Long Beach. And sure as shit, people started paying attention. He ended up getting another school set up even further down the coast in Los Angeles, and he taught all the greats. Here's just a short list of people. Tell me if you know any of them. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Chuck Norris, Steve McQueen, James Coburn, Jim Kelly, Sterling Silliphant, Roman Polanski, Sharon Tate. In the early 70s, Lee's work in film and teaching martial arts had elevated Hong Kong and Hollywood martial arts films to a place in pop culture that had never been achievable before, because he was America's martial arts darling. And now that he was popular in America, cultural exports, they're going to fucking claim their guy, right? They're going to claim their guy from Hong Kong. And so, like, suddenly, holy shit, man, this guy can do no wrong.
Yeah.
What are these films that are so popular?
Hey, real quick, before you get into that, a little bit of background. I just got to squeeze this in.
Yeah, go for it. He had to be trained, right? Somebody trained him, yeah?
Yes. Aside from learning
Wing Chun,
yes, but
Tai Chi boxing.
Tai Chi boxing, yes. Okay, he learned that from his father. And then there's two schools of thought as to whether or not he actually trained with Yip Man. The movies got everything wrong. If you watch Legend of the Dragon, he's like this precocious kid who shows up. Or if you watch, I believe it's Ip Man 2 at the very end, this little kid shows up and like he's thumbing his nose. You know how he always does. He's like getting ready to kick some ass even though he's a little kid, you know. The truth of the matter is apparently that he didn't ever really directly train with Yip Man. A few times. But the man who actually taught him, what was it, Wing Chun?
yeah,
Yeah, the man who taught him the Wing Chun style was actually a fella who was a student of Yip Man by the name of Wang Shang Lung, master of the talking hands.
it may have been Kung Fu, it may have been Tai Chi. At first, just Wing Chun is what he first incorporated into Jeet Kune Do.
Okay. Yeah, because I know that Yip Man, like, he basically taught, he started out teaching, like, grown folks, like people who ran, like, the restaurant union, who were being fucked with by the triads, etc. He taught them how to defend themselves.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the rumor of Yip Man spread, and it was like, oh, this guy's a badass. So Bruce Lee sought him out. By that time, his school was so popular. All I can tell you is that the movies, Dragon, the Bruce Lee story movie, and the Yip Man movie, they both got a lot of the timeline wrong, some of the facts wrong. But Yip Man did end up becoming quite an influence later on in life. So
Yeah, I mean,
throwing that out
Man,
there.
there's actually a couple of films on, I want to say it was on Netflix. I don't know, one of them. If you have a streaming service, it's probably on there.
Yeah, there's a couple Yip Man movies on Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, man, or
I think all of them, maybe.
Yeah, by now, anyways. I just cracked this beer does not want to crack open. Anyways, a lot of his famous films came right towards the last 4 or 5 years of his career / existence. The Big Boss, 1971. Fist of Fury, 1972.
Oh, yeah.
The Way of the Dragon, 1972. Enter the Dragon, produced by Warner Bros. And Golden Harvest. Golden Harvest was one of his fucking boys.
His people from when he was doing stuff in Chinese opera, early Chinese cinema, they basically expatriated from China, came over with him, more or less. Maybe not directly with him, but they were very much involved also with a lot of the movies and films he made. Also, The Green Hornet,
Yes.
Kato. Sorry,
Kato, as they knew it in China, they knew it as Kato with the Green Hornet instead of the other way around.
Oh, Kato and the Green Hornet?
Yeah, because he was so awesome. And,
yeah, I could see that. Awesome theme song. Herb Alpert. Check him out.
Yes, Herb Alpert is fucking awesome. So a little bit of a background around the early 70s, right? 1972, one Richard Milhouse Nixon opens up relations with China, right?
Oh, yeah, okay.
By going into he goes on tour and China's like, hey, I'm an old flabby fat man, and I really want to make friends with your country. Excuse me.
Riddled with phlebitis.
Yeah. And Nixon is immediately offered an invitation by Mao Zedong to, I guess it's the Forbidden City? I don't know, Beijing, right? And they have a meeting and stuff. He's like, what I really want to do is just make sure that we can have trade. And everybody wants to make sure that we can get goods from you. So cultural exports.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to broker, opening a market, right? Like, and the first thing.
Relations.
Yeah, the first thing that comes up between the two of them is not the weather or fucking, hey, what do you think about that whole Soviet Russia thing? They're like, no, Bruce Lee's a fucking hero. Mao Zedong is so awestruck with Bruce Lee that he fucking would take reels into his private palace and no one would dare ask. We can't stop the movie.
Should have loved Westerns.
Bring another projector in here so he can watch both Bruce Lee movies at the same time.
You can watch Bruce Lee fight Bruce Lee.
Yeah, like just push them together and now it's 4D or some weird shit. And see, interesting fact about this as well. Mao Zedong made a trip back to the U.S. in 1974, right? Because they're still improving relations. And there was a contingent of martial artists that showed up and performed on the White House lawn while Nixon was still there. And Nixon said, hey, you know something? You're really good at that. You think you might want to work for the Secret Service? That kid that he talked to was 14 years old and said, no, I don't want to protect one man. I want to protect all my countrymen in China. And that kid was fucking Jet Li.
Huh, how about that?
Yeah, fucking Nixon's a Jet Li man. Mao Zedong is a fucking Bruce Lee guy. And neither one of them likes the guy from their country. Weird, right? It's just a weird, ironic note. It's just fucking odd.
I also forgot to mention that whole rooftop battle, supposedly, that Bruce Lee took part in.
Well, apparently those were, repetitive. That was, just like a meetup spot.
He got into a lot of fights in Catholic school as a kid. I know that much. But the way the movies show it, see, there's another Yip Man crossover in that the first Yip Man movie, he fights, the first one's about how Japan has moved into Manchuria and et cetera. It's during World War II. The Japanese are touting that their fighting styles are the best. And Yip Man finally decides I've had enough of this shit. And he takes on 10 black belts at a time. So, that scene, and I believe it's Enter the Dragon, where Bruce Lee's he just moves and the circle of dudes around him back the fuck up whoa, yeah. He just did something.
What are you doing?
Yeah, that's based on Yip Man, supposedly.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So there is some overlap of stories and mythology and Hollywood, as we know, likes to take liberties.
The pop culture new reality.
Fresher.
Yeah, they gotta make it.
They got to put asses in seats.
That's
I understand. Right. We know about that.
Anyways, now that he's a little bit popular and all this stuff, we got to backtrack just a little bit to his personal life because he was a human being. Mm-hmm. He did have needs, and those needs
involved kicking the shit out of people
and getting
the shit kicked out of him.
and he needed a woman.
Hey man,
to love.
Only human.
And so that part where we were talking about stuff in the pre-meeting when I was Linda and marriage.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please join me with one chorus of that, please.
Okay. 1,
2, 3. Linda and marriage. Linda and marriage. Thank you. Anyway, I know it's dumb.
You owe us one.
Linda and Bruce met in high school. Oh. Wait, what? No, he was a college student at the time, giving a demonstration at the high school. So he was picking up on a high school chick. Oh, yeah, see?
Okay, if you're a college guy, I guess.
Well, I mean, if you're 1 year older or whatever,
yeah,
cool. Anyways, he was giving a demonstration at Garfield High School, and she was so enamored by it. She was like, this guy
Just kicked the shit out of Normal.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Exactly. Yeah. Like she was just so enamored by it. And Linda actually married him. Married him. Obviously, we know that part, but she became a student. It's kind of like that movie Ghost, but with martial arts. And
it's kind of like that scene from Dumb and Dumber in the restaurant and his fantasy.
yeah, like
When you said student, I thought you were going to say stripper. I was like, really? Bruce Lee's wife was a stripper?
You know what's funny about that is that the woman who played Jim Carrey's love interest in Dumb and Dumber played his wife in Dragon the Bruce Lee story.
Yeah.
Hey, how about
Weird.
that?
and Bruce.
Some useless knowledge to take math out of your head.
Jim Carrey was actually married to that lady for a little while too.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
shows her butt
and her high beams.
And there's a bird on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It gets caught in there.
Yeah.
Anyways, so they were married August 17th, 1964, and it started a marriage that would blossom into two very beautiful children, Shannon
She is beautiful.
Lee.
Man, she's a looker.
She is a fucking knockout.
If I may say so myself, so is Brendan.
She's also responsible for several knockouts. And then Brandon Lee. We'll get back to them momentarily.
Yeah.
1965, Brandon Lee born. 1969, Shannon Lee. Unfortunately, Brandon Lee passed in March 31st, 1993.
Yeah,
During a filming of The Crow.
We'll get into some death rumors later.
So this is where we get to the part now where we kind of talk. Now that you got a little bit of background on his family and his film career, we would be remiss if we didn't kind of talk about the Tao of Jeet Kune Do and the development of his fighting style, and just
let's go straight to the martial artist himself. At least out of the three of us.
This is the part that
I know the ancient Irish fighting style of fuck you.
Yeah.
I don't know karate, but I know crazy. But yes, our own J-Lo is a accomplished martial artist of some sort himself.
Not like Bruce Lee, that's for sure. But I know a thing or two. Jeet Kune Do is simple, direct, and non-classical. Bruce Lee. It started in 1965, and initially he started using techniques from Wing Chun, and then he started incorporating other styles, such as boxing, fencing, and then striking and grappling martial arts. I got some more quotes for you. Using no way as the way, you are the way. Using no limitation as the limitation. So what he meant by that was don't limit yourself to any one style. So like, this... He kept talking about like, this is a Japanese style and this is a Korean style and this is an Indonesian style. And he was like, so in a way he was really not anti-racist, but he just wasn't racist because he was incorporating all these styles.
I think a lot of it was he didn't just want to be one dimensional, right? Like
right.
Every genre of music has things about it that is really awesome. And if you can incorporate those into the same set or the same song, then hell yeah, by all means, brother, it's part of the art.
I
right?
will say, looking into this, there was some like racial tension and divide between some of these schools of martial arts, and
that's why he had to fight that one guy, and he won. He actually did fight that guy.
Some of these some people I'm going to talk about later. Well.
We'll see. There was a lot of racism, and there was a lot of white racism toward, people in cultures and, stuff like martial arts that they didn't understand. But there was a great deal of backlash against, the Chinese against Americans. They did not want Americans to know this stuff.
Dude, Linda got shit on by fucking the Chinese crowd, man. I couldn't believe it. Like, they lost their shit over the fact that, man, you're representing like all this culture, thousands of years of culture, and you're married to this fucking white woman. Like
that ain't his thing. That ain't his fault. They hung that on him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah. But he's still got to deal with it, right? Like that's his lady, man. Fucking no, fuck you, man. I made the conscious decision to marry Linda, man.
Hey, you love who you love.
Yeah, that's right. Because love is fucking blind. Unfortunately, you can't dictate these. You can't arrange marriages. I'm sorry, shit. I forget. I'm sorry.
You can, but
in some countries,
we frown upon it here in our land of democracy and freedom.
But But, Linda was, she's also an accomplished martial artist. She also still runs the charity.
She's, I think the most recent footage I saw her was like in the aughts.
I wouldn't mess with her.
She's she's a good looking lady still for her age.
Dude, she's bamf. Mm-hmm. For sure.
But anyways, he also quoted, it says, "Man, the living creature, the creating individual is always more important than any established style or system," Bruce Lee. So again, he's going back to this amalgam of different styles, and he's, instead of teaching techniques and then everybody doing the same techniques together like you often see, like I used to do, he would teach concepts. So parry this punch, and then you come in for a block, and then you do like an American uppercut, and then like maybe a Wing Chun move that gets you into a grappling situation that could be taken from like jiu-jitsu or something like that. And it totally depends on the person. So he was saying that every practitioner of Jeet Kune Do is gonna be different, because they're gonna channel what they know at the time that it happens through expression, whether it be anger or fight or flight or whatever.
Yeah, it's fluid.
Yeah. That and a lot of the statements.
Fluid is a very important word.
Walk like water.
Mm-hmm.
Be like water, homie.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was going to say, but yeah, some of the quotes you mentioned earlier and his outlook is very in line with Taoist philosophy and thought. So, yeah, he's...
Jeet Kune Do actually translates into way of the intercepting fist. It's meant to be a disarmament kind of style, and
I also feel we should interject, at least as far as myself and my brother and associate Matt over here.
Hello.
At least I'm speaking for myself, certainly. I know fuck all about martial arts. So
I got to a green belt in Taekwondo, and then I was...
Oh, okay. I took that one free class, and then I guess mom and dad didn't want to put both of us in there. I don't know.
Chuck Norris was one of his students, or one of the martial artists that he definitely worked with. And when they asked Chuck Norris in an interview, like if he could take Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris said, "Well, I was a world champion, but."
Wow, that's not arrogant.
Well, he was speaking truthfully, and Chuck Norris is actually known for being a really humble guy and a real nice guy, typically.
When you ask a martial art, like, okay, from what I've seen...
Go on, Mike, go on.
From what I've seen of certain Hollywood martial artists, I'll say, people who are in more, let's say, modern last 30...
He told Haley Joel Osment he had AIDS.
Who? What?
Chuck Norris and that show.
Oh.
I
didn't know what the fuck you were talking about.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Helpers.
Yeah.
If you ask them, are you dangerous? Can you still fight?
Yeah, absolutely.
They kind of have to. They're not going to say no.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know. I'm just going from the rabbit hole I went down, which once again we'll get into later. But it seems like something you can't really say no.
So
I would get the shit kicked out of me. It just doesn't seem like something anyone would really willingly admit.
I got a quote from Bruce Lee here that I thought was very poignant. Man, it's something that affects all of us. And man, I kind of felt motivated to like get up, like mow the lawn or something, like felt like motivated,
One chop at a time.
Yeah. I'm gonna come out here and fucking same level with scissors. The quote is, "Fear comes from uncertainty. We can eliminate that fear within us when we know ourselves better." And that philosophy is pretty fucking hard up, right? Like,
yeah,
you can't disagree with that.
If we were more like Bruce Lee, man, we would be a much more ironically peaceful society through fighting.
Yeah.
Healthier
too.
Well, it's one thing when everybody knows how to pull a trigger. It's another thing when everyone knows is how to whoop that ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how to really tame oneself. Yeah.
I've seen that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the number one. That's the number one fighting style that people equate with improvement in mental health conditions. That's the one you hear about the most. So, I mean, there is something to it. It helps your confidence, get out of your comfort zone, etc.
That's true. You get punched in the face a lot or kicked in the face and it hurts.
I think learning to take an ass whooping is probably one of the most valuable.
You gotta get used to it, you know? Like, I know
peeling your lip off of your braces while somebody's continuing to pound you in the face is something that is useful, especially to a 14-year-old. I hate to say that, but I was 14 when that was happening to me, and I learned a lot from that experience.
You know, I think there needs to be a level of
quality control.
Let me put it,
there does
on this show and in society. But let me phrase it to where I'm not gonna get in a lot of trouble. Look, there's an expected amount of pain that you're gonna go through in life, right?
Fuck yeah.
And like
life is pain.
Yeah, and fucking you should also be able to know when to pick and choose a battle. And also, you know,
that's what the fist in the palm is all about.
That's what he said. Pick what is useful to you and discard what is not.
I think if everybody kind of got used to the idea of getting punched in the arm or whatever, you know, or like, hey, you look at the circle under the waist, bam, and like get smacked in the head or whatever, you get used to a certain level of pain all the time.
Yeah.
And even in and like J-Lo, when you were going through basic,
builds your tolerance and shit.
Yeah, like when J-Lo, when you were going through basic, right? Like they were like, "Hey, fucking sack up," and like they, you know, like fucking hit you. I'm sure you know they got all these weird. Well, not it's weird to us. It's foreign to me and Mike because we didn't go through it. But everyone in that camp's probably like, "Hey, just slap the nuts or fucking hit you in like in a sensitive spot all the time," and like, "Hey, sack up, brother. We gotta go."
Sack tap.
Yeah. It's the new defense mechanism, sack tap.
Real quick, last couple little bits about Bruce Lee and Jeet Kune Do was the Jeet Kune Do punch was proven to indeed be more powerful and faster than the traditional karate or taekwondo punch, and it was actually scientifically experimented on in a university conducted by Hayward Nishioka, a martial artist as well. And speed. Bruce Lee was so fast that he had to slow down his technique in the film so that the camera could catch it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Before high definition cameras, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see how, like, especially after his death, he gets this sort of like superhuman, you know, kind of.
Oh, we got canonized, bro.
Yeah, he's
he got
like,
the Kurt Cobain treatment, but he deserved it.
Yeah.
I'm about to get into his death here in just a second, but
it's a whole fucking hot garbage mess.
I don't want to know, Downer. Let's do the death first, and then we'll do the part of the legacy there.
So there are many rumors surrounding Bruce Lee's death, but
I don't think there's enough rumors. Quite frankly,
hey, give it time. People will keep adding on. Like I said before, the man was a golden goose. People knew that he was going to make them a lot of money. So right there, you can cancel out a lot of the stuff that has to do with like the studios or the triads and the tongs, because those dudes were probably getting a cut, if anything, Chinese government, etc. There's one story that he faked his death and went to become a cop in Hong Kong, which is horseshit.
He would never do that.
Yeah, sounds like a really shitty thing to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to give up this life of prestige and go be a cop.
Yeah, it sounds like a really bad movie.
Yeah.
Go figure. Yeah. A lot of people also blamed his ex-girlfriend, Betty Ting Pei. Like, they thought because, you know, he died at her apartment. So all these people thought she slipped him drugs or some shit because she was like, if I can't have you, it's just dumb shit. It's horrible. She loved him.
Facts. I got the facts here.
Yeah, let me get all the bullshit out of the way.
She loved him.
Yeah,
I loved him. She's got no excuse.
What else? Let's see. There's rumors of a curse on his family, which is probably horseshit, as curses only work if you strongly believe in them. So anthropology would tell us.
Well, maybe there could be a mystical taint involved in there. We don't know.
I don't know. There's talk of Dim Mak, which, oh boy, we'll get into Dim Mak later. That's the touch of death for those who have never heard of Dim Mak.
I could just see Bruce Lee doing like Jeet Kune Do or whatever inside of one of those Oregon catch tray things.
Building up that chi.
Yeah.
And then I don't think it's any hidden fact that he smoked weed. He very much did smoke weed, but
he ate it too.
My man.
There's also some letters that were left after his death, which may or may not indicate that he was also using cocaine. But I will say, this is just me talking before I kick it back to Matt.
Editorial.
There's no curse. There's no fucking curse. The man died of CTE from getting fucking hit in the head all the time. That's how he died. And I will say that it is very strange that one of his last movies, he played a character who was shot on a movie set. And then, they actually, for some ungodly reason, use actual funeral footage in the film, which is very poor taste, I think.
Yeah.
But then, years later, you have his son who is shot on a movie set. And as unfortunate as it is, I don't know, there's no real mystery to it. Maybe ask Alec Baldwin where he was that day, but it's not a conspiracy. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's not enough, I don't know.
What I had originally heard was that he was like having allergies or something, and he took a pill, just like an over-the-counter pill, and it just happened to have this drug in it or this ingredient in it that he just happened to be allergic to, and it was real rare, and he died.
Well, he had seizures fairly irregularly too.
Well, see,
Didn't know that.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's CTE. I mean, dude, seriously.
so here's
Getting smacked in the head all the time, like, can you imagine, like, if he didn't die of CTE, like, if he went Chris Benoit, what a fucking insane, unstoppable killing machine it would
Yeah.
be. Oh, my God, it's frightening. Sorry to Chris Benoit and his family.
Sorry.
Sorry. It's from all the fighting, man. I mean, you can't, get the shit kicked out of you repeatedly throughout your life, especially in the head, and not have, chronic traumatic encephalitis at some point in your life.
He even was a big condoner of contact in practicing because it's realistic. Air punch to your face is not the same as being punched in the face, and your reaction is going to be different after you've been punched in the face.
It's a live fire exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we just so happen to have a few notes here inside the bunker on his death. And even the events leading up to his death. Somber song plays here.
Insert pan flute.
Yeah. So on May 10th, Bruce Lee collapsed in the studio during a dialogue replacement. He was diagnosed with a cerebral edema. That, medically speaking, is the accumulation of fluid in the brain and the intracellular and extracellular casing, which increase pressure around the skull.
Encephalitis.
It's not necessarily hydrocephalia. It's
Encephalitis.
Yeah, thank you. Hydrocephalic. But your brain is made of a lot of fat, and there's lots of porous gaps in between there, and the fluid built up in between those gaps, and like it's not like plaque. It's not similar to plaque like you would get with Alzheimer's. It's more like the body's immediate reaction to protect the brain. In a weird way.
I'm no doctor, but I believe it's pronounced vagina. No, I'm no doctor, but I do believe encephalitis is brain swelling.
Hydrocephalitis.
That's water on the brain.
Yeah.
Encephalitis is when your brain swells against the skull. Yeah.
I could see that. I didn't realize that he had been, he was so hardcore and had so much contact.
Because that's what all these football players are getting fucked up for.
So,
getting,
So they called an ambo to come out there, and he was treated at Hong Kong Baptist Hospital with mannitol. It's a drug used for brain swelling. In fact, I'm pretty sure they gave that to me for seizures when I was a baby, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. We'd have to ask.
Our little seizure, baby.
Yeah, our little Caesar. On Friday, July 20th, 1973, Bruce Lee began complaining of a headache. He was given a painkiller with a...
Does anyone else's brain feel big?
Yeah, right? With an Equagesic, I believe is how it's pronounced, containing both aspirin and meprobamate, if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Okay.
Sounds right.
So that's what he took.
And it contained a tranquilizer, so a painkiller and a trank, which was very common at the time in medication in the early 70s.
Oh, yeah, this is back in the day of ludes, dude.
Yeah, like...
Oh, boy.
They're like, oh, no, yeah, leaded gas is great. They also said that at the same time they were sending these pills out to
Put
people.
more chlorofluorocarbons in my hair. I want it as big as possible.
So a colleague of Lee's, like Mike mentioned earlier, Betty Ting Pei, attempted to wake him after several hours of him taking a nap to sleep off the headache.
How convenient.
And a doctor was called to attempt to revive him. And then an ambulance was called to try and revive him. And then he was taken to the hospital, to Elizabeth Hospital, in fact, where he was pronounced dead on arrival.
This is in.
At the tender age of 32. Yes, this was in Hong Kong.
Okay, yeah.
Lee's death was ruled death by misadventure, meaning death by voluntary risky behavior, which...
Death by getting knocked in the fucking skull.
Yeah, like...
Okay.
But they were saying that the drugs he took was the cause of death.
Yeah.
And then they started looking into it further, right? Like, okay, well, like, people want to know he's a very public figure. We can't just have this shit popping off, right? Scotland Yard. Oh, man.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Scotland Yard.
Got the yard involved, huh?
Recommends.
All out the yardies.
Yeah, they recommend one
Booyah.
Donald Tier. Get to the pinata. I said get to the pinata.
Keep going.
Anyways, so Donald Tier, Teare, a forensic scientist, recommended by Scotland Yard and assigned to Lee's case, ruled that the death by misadventure was because of a combination of things, right? So it wasn't just that he took a pill, right? You know, obviously he took cyanide. No, it wasn't that. It was
this man needs an enema.
Yeah, it actually gets really convoluted and fucked up.
That's what I'm saying, man.
There's several things here physiologically that are wrong with him. Number one, right, is that he had his sweat glands removed from his armpits.
Weird.
Really?
Can't be good.
Because
never heard that.
It looked unattractive.
Yeah.
Because
he was a very vain man.
And number two, he worked his body very hard.
Yeah.
He even endorsed an electroshock therapy for the abdomen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like the muscle building, or it's like
it stimulates the muscles in your stomach, and
Yeah.
you're supposed to.
All I have to do is sit here and keep drinking beer, and I'll get a 6-pack while it works on me. And no, that's not how it works.
That kind of 6-pack, brother.
So when you don't have sweat glands in your armpits,
Where your toxins gonna go?
You lose a bunch of shit, right? Like you also have lymph nodes in your armpits.
Yeah.
And you sweat out the bad shit out of your body through those lymph nodes and your sweat glands. If you've ever been sick,
I never heard of this before. I didn't.
Yeah, if you've ever been sick, man.
I mean, I know about. I'd never heard about him getting them removed.
Cut out,
Right.
yeah, like surgically removed, yeah.
Crazy.
So like 2 days prior, he had been out doing shoots and stuff and demonstrations and being Bruce Lee, just going out there and generally kicking ass and just having fun. They thought that maybe, just maybe, he had a heat stroke and didn't know about it. Because not the tech, but the actual studies on heat stroke back then were kind of in their infancy.
Yeah.
Like CPR and fucking don't put tranquilizers in your aspirin.
Somebody kill Bruce Lee.
Or your ass.
Or your ass.
Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay.
Bruce Lee killed Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee
All right,
killed Bruce
fair
Lee.
enough.
Yeah.
I would say that's a fair assessment.
So after years, the autopsy revealed that after years of being a street fighter and being like doing his own stunts and getting his head caved in several times and all this, that Mike is essentially correct. He has fluid in the brain, not hydrocephalus, but just a buildup. But a buildup, right?
Yeah.
And his body can't regulate itself because he's had his fucking glands surgically removed.
Okay.
And now
So we're both right.
Your body won't even function properly. And then you take a drug that can't be metabolized properly and then snapola. You just
Okay.
you have a bad reaction to a drug because your body can't filter anything out and you're dehydrated. It's a well-known fact at the time that he was hammering booze.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he was
Yep.
a bit of an alkie as well.
Oh, I did not know that.
That might be a bit judgmental. Let me reverse that statement and say, dude liked to party. And we all like to party.
Yes.
So, I
mean-
don't think he was any worse than any of us are. I drive better when I have you.
I podcast better when I've had a few. Yeah.
These kids got to get to school somehow.
Have like
But
flying
the,
sidekick the apple off of somebody's head while you're drunk contests.
But this
I think we've done that before.
this death by misadventure remained on his death certificate, right? It never changed.
Yeah.
And it's because
and something like that is bound to, kick up more rumors.
And it's
like we said before, when there's a lack of information, people will fill in the gaps.
Yeah,
with their own horseshit.
If here in the great state of Texas, they started changing the cause of death to being stupid. You kick up all kinds of conspiracies, right? Like Darwin. Yeah. It'd be like, oh no, this is a Darwin death. And because believe me, there are very stupid deaths that happen here.
Oh shit, yeah. There's whole books filled with stupid deaths out there.
So
catalogs, chronicles.
Dr. Tier remarked in his autopsy and in his findings that, quote, and I put this in brackets, air brackets, not air quotes. It would be, quotes, both irresponsible and irrational to say that cannabis might have triggered an event that would have caused Bruce Lee's collapse on May 10th and his death on July 20th. And it's because when they did the autopsy, his belly was full of pot. And
That's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird as fuck.
There's no way.
Maybe he just did that as like a bypass to smoking it, you think?
Yeah.
Maybe he was just like, you know what? I just
Like
really want to nap for a while.
He was like a proto-edible dude.
Well, I mean, I would think so. And also, he was super all about being in shape and
so
just
the
being
lungs.
healthy.
Yeah.
So inhaling smoke would definitely probably not be one of the things he did.
It's a very logical thing for a human being to say.
Did they specifically say marijuana, or was it like hashish? Or?
Cannabis is what they used as the term.
So he died during the demonization of marijuana.
So and then
we'll
and
never
obviously
know how he died.
and then obviously Nixon was like, see, that's what I was talking about the entire time. Everybody needs to stop having fun. And then, like,
Only I can smoke marijuana.
yeah.
Not a crime if the president doesn't.
Everybody needs to be more miserable like me.
Yeah.
Fucking, and it's, man, like,
It's the prevailing philosophy in this country.
it's a prevailing theory of mine that that's how most people over the age of 80 want you to feel. No offense
I'd
to
say.
our listeners that are 80 years or older.
Nah, we got the cool ones.
Yeah, we got the good ones. You guys are great.
You obviously have good taste. If you're
You guys like bacon and stuff too. Fucking awesome. I get messages all the time about how great bacon is. Now, anyways, I digress. That's the really sad part is the death, right? Because, he left 2 kids behind and a wife. And these are people,
And
man.
a legacy.
Yeah. Like now you got to cover this legacy. You got to pick stuff back up, man. You got to pick up the pieces because what do people do? They fucking
they live.
They live, right?
Move on.
Yeah.
You keep going.
You pick up the pieces and move on as
Gotta
best
be
you
a shark
can.
sometimes. You keep on swimming.
So his legacy.
I will say, I mentioned to a good friend of mine, I was like, yeah, we're doing Bruce Lee this week. It was like, I don't know, this is before I found the rabbit hole that I went down. But it was like, really? Is he a kook? And I was like, no, he's an iconoclast.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Oh yeah. I mean, selling the weird abdominal massager is kind of a weird thing, but
I get the impression he did it along with the same kind of mentality he had for making movies, where it's like, okay, sure. I mean, if this is going to build muscle and I see that it will, I'll endorse it. But
well, that, and I would say, like we're just talking now, like all the health science might not have been in on something like that. You know,
and he tried to be like a forerunner on like pushing the envelope for like,
oh yeah,
Yeah.
so I could totally see him doing that.
He was obsessive in his training. That's for certain.
Even so, 1970s, you are what? By the time 73 rolled around, by the time he died, you're probably 18 years removed from polio being a real thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And put all those businesses.
That really puts it in perspective.
Yeah, you put all those businesses out of business. like health, I don't think the FDA was as hardcore as they are now, letting all these medications out onto the public and having to have the preface saying this has not been evaluated by the FDA.
Well, they still fuck up.
Yeah, obviously. But anyways, this is not us bashing the government. We love America.
We love the government.
We love the government.
Hey, I love the American people.
That's
where I'll leave it.
So his legacy.
Unless the government wants to pay me to say that I love it.
So the legacy.
Talk.
Yeah, see, I already got J-Lo's fucking DD214. Anyways, his legacy, right? He was named Time's 100 most important people of the 20th century.
Yeah.
And not only a pop icon, he also bridged the gap between the East and the West. He was the guy that helped do it, right? That whole conversation we had about Mao Zedong being like, this guy gives me a fucking boner for action movies. But in Chinese, because I don't know it.
Probably not that high-pitched either.
Yeah, I think, Mao Zedong seems like he's kind of a bastard. But, the whole 17 million people dead. But as a side note.
Statistics.
Yeah.
They call it.
As a side note.
Sorry, that's...
It helped the work he did in Hong Kong, even though it was owned by the British at the time, till 1999, because it's a 100-year lease. He's still considered Chinese. He's still considered a hero to those people over there. And to his fearless communist leader, Mao Zedong, on the other side of the water.
Simultaneously, an American legend.
Yeah. And
Lee might say paradoxically even.
Lee changed the way people thought about Asians in general, right?
Oh, yeah.
Prior to Lee, they were considered to be like emasculated or childlike or being,
railroad workers.
Not like a Chinaman's chance in hell was a
the
phrase.
Stereotype. And
he also accidentally invented a new stereotype by improving the image of the Asian American.
There's a bit of a catch-22 there.
Yeah. Now they went from being emasculated or like to a servant status allegedly to
they all know how to kick your ass and they all know magic.
And this is according to now it's just being able to kick your ass and
reporting the news.
Anyways. So, according to Professor Chung at the University of Michigan, it also made the new stereotype of all Asians are good at martial arts and they're all martial artists, right? And fucking, obviously, that's not true because I work with all kinds of people and none of them are martial artists, period. Even if they tell me that they listen to James Brown all the time, I still don't know. It's not going to work. Lee was one of if not, I don't know karate, but I know crazy.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I know. I'm sorry. I should have put the reference in there.
I didn't catch the correlation, but I said the exact phrase earlier. So sorry.
He was one of the first, if not the first, non-white action star in the United States.
Really?
Yeah, like
even before Jim Kelly and all those guys.
He taught Jim Kelly, man. That was his fucking student.
Well, yeah. But when did The Dirty Dozen come out? Was that before Bruce Lee?
Dirty Dozen was probably the late 60s, but
yeah, it's probably around the same time.
Yeah. This was the first time that a non-white was actually
the lead.
Not only the hero, but like lived
the box office draw.
Yeah, like lived. Yeah, like and our side piece here that has come out, the hero in Night of the Living Dead is black, but that's a rarity in 1968 and early 1970s. He set a precedent. He gained all this notoriety just because he fought everybody and
he fought.
Yeah, like it was.
That's all you need to say, and not just physically, but he had battles in his life.
And he has been accused. Insert nice words here. He's got a way with the white women's. He loves the white women's.
Dude. I mean, I'm like, dude. I mean, you've seen his body. Fucking look at him. He's ripped. He's fucking like an apex.
Yeah.
Fucking human being, for fuck's sake.
He was just small, which was unfortunate. Like that the ongoing question was like if he had fought Muhammad Ali, who would win? And my answer is if he was the size of Muhammad Ali, Bruce Lee would win. But unfortunately, most of those techniques and stuff are not gonna, even though he could land him and he could probably like hit Muhammad Ali maybe in the solar plexus really hard, but more than likely he's gonna get overwhelmed by the brute strength of the boxer.
Mm-hmm.
It's, man, I mean...
Ryu versus Balrog situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. A real street fighter. Man. We'll also have some great recommendations for reading.
Yes.
For homework. Because we love you and we want you to read.
Inclined. Yeah, we want to send you home with a task.
Go to a library and not because you have to BM or wash yourself.
Learn a martial art from a book.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not really.
Yeah. No, it's a good start.
I think
it's a good start.
I think they should fucking like put YouTube channels. I mean, they do kind of, but like, do like pay-per-view home martial arts shit.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that's a thing that exists already.
I'm sure someone's cornered the market on that.
Yeah, probably. Billy Bowtie Blanks.
Once again,
Billy
KCI
Blanks
Industries has
time.
failed to catch the curve.
Oh, fuck.
The only thing I can think of is Diedrich Bader in Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes, that was hilarious.
Yeah. Or fucking Kenny Powers is in that fucking stupid ass fucking movie he did. Hiya.
Break time.
We're going to take a break. We'll be right back after this. Hey, everybody, we're back.
Hey, thanks for sticking around because now we get to give you the homework. So, Chinese Kung Fu, the philosophical art of self-defense, made in 1963, published in 1963. The Tao of Jeet Kune Do, posthumously in 1973. And then Bruce Lee's fighting method in 1978. These are all like the high watermark in regards to anything about him in general that was published as in writing.
Or Linda Lee Caldwell's The Man Only I Knew.
Yeah. I hate to jump back into quotes and stuff, but the fucking whole be like water thing. A lot of people are like, "Hey, what's Bruce Lee's favorite drink?" Water. And they get the gist of it, right?
You know what's an even cooler quote than the whole water quote is the whole you see a finger pointing at the moon instead of looking at the moon. I'm butchering that quote.
Yeah.
But man, it's a good one.
Well, even
it's right up there with like, you know, the map is not the territory.
Yeah.
Don't confuse the levels.
But even with this, man, like the be like water thing, it's I'm paraphrasing and I'm gonna butcher it too. It's my own interpretation. When life makes a mountain out of problems for you and you're not equipped to scale that mountain, be like water. Water flows through the mountain. It breaks down the mountain. It will alleviate a lot of problems in the process. By no means is the guy saying be like water, take the path of least resistance. It's just a road, you know, like
water wears shit down after time. It's called erosion. Look into it. And at the same time, water can take the form of whatever container it is in. So you have to be able to be fluid, flexible,
and adaptable.
Yes.
It also doesn't take hits. It doesn't get hurt, but it crashes down if it needs to.
And that's the story. And that's the story behind the whole concept. Was he went on a junk by himself in the ocean and just kind of did some Bruce Lee guy thinking.
Fought the ocean.
He
knew
literally
some stuff about sailing, and then he went off into the middle of the ocean by himself on a raft.
He literally started punching the ocean and said, "Man," and it came to me. I can punch the ocean all I want, and no matter what I do, it's gonna adapt. It's not hurt. It's not exhausted. I'm the one wearing myself down.
Moisture
I need to be like water.
Is the essence of wetness.
He came up with Jeet Kune Do after he fought the Megan one by himself out in the ocean.
The Megalodon?
Yeah.
That's right.
This might come out during the same time, so good tie-in.
I just had to get that one across. But then we get into a very terrible thing that happened called Bruceploitation. And there's
Bruce Lee and Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
And Bruce Lee.
It's Bruce Lee, but it's spelled L-I.
Yeah.
Or it's Bruce Lee, but it's spelled Leauxi niner
apostrophe.
Yeah, like they just threw
Sigma.
There was
Epsilon.
In 1974, there was a huge search for anyone that looked remotely close to Bruce Lee or that could even just pull it off. And they were going to flood the market with bullshit. And it ruined, like they single-handedly, when they came up with Bruceploitation, they single-handedly destroyed any kind of relationship that East and West were building about the martial arts.
Yeah.
I will say, though, if it weren't for Bruce Lee and the Bruceploitation era, we probably never would have got a hold of all those fabulous Wu-Tang Clan videos that inspired the artists we love so much. So,
That it inspired us.
yeah. So I got to at least throw that out there.
Yeah, man, like none of these guys were touting the same thing, right? They're all it's likeness and image.
And he spoke out against that too in interviews. You know, like the next guy who's going to be the cool cat who's going to be on screen, and he was like, you know, that's secondary to training.
Dude, for my fucking money, fucking Jim Kelly, dude. Like, absolutely. That motherfucker came up with some of the, like, those movies are fucking awesome. Like, you got to give that guy some credit, man, because Chuck Norris, he parlayed his training into a career as Walker, Texas Ranger. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is just
on display on basketball.
Yeah, just in a booth in basketball.
I'm a huge Jackie Chan fan myself. I love that guy. He seems like someone that he would sit down and talk to anyone, really.
Yeah.
Like, he seems like a very cool, like, accepting guy. Yeah, I actually saw a thing where he was talking about Bruce Lee's style, and he's like, it's just so bad. So, dude, they did movies together. And
did you ever see the Jackie Chan video where he's got the cauldron?
Oh, yeah,
and he has to carry it up the stairs.
Yeah, man.
And it's boiling hot water. Like, man,
Jackie Chan is like, see, he's my favorite because A, like, he incorporates humor into his choreography, and B, he's so good at, like, incorporating the environment into his fighting style.
Yeah.
Like,
and then,
it's badass.
And then, you know, I think him and Chris Tucker, as much as he probably doesn't agree with it, they
wouldn't keep making those movies if they were homies in real life.
They're a good fucking team. And fucking dude, Jackie Chan is very committed to making movies, right? So like he shows up on set 2 hours early, and he runs through everything with every department to make sure everything's right. And he pissed off Chris Tucker, who was like,
really?
"Hey man, yeah." Like, and there's a short
touching
on
his radio.
There's a little
fixing
different
the fire extinguisher.
There's a short on YouTube about it. He's like, "Hey man, I showed up 15 minutes late, 30 minutes late, and everyone's mad at me because you show up 2 hours early and you're dedicated to making those films. So can you not do that?" Like, he asked Jackie Chan to not be that dedicated. Like, can you just dial it back 20%? Like, there's all these knockoffs in the Bruce Lee exploitation, right? And this is the 70s seems to be the era. Late 60s, mid to mid 70s seems to be the exploitation of everything.
Yeah.
Fucking martial arts, Nazi exploitation,
just grindhouse movies, really.
Blaxploitation, fucking like all this. Like, anyone that thought they could make a buck, they were on it, man.
But you could also kind of reverse that argument and say, like, it's sort of a renaissance for niche filmmaking to a degree. I mean, Hollywood branched out as opposed to, you know, the formulaic same old bullshit that we see all the time. I mean, hasn't changed that much.
Having Steve McQueen jump a razor wire fence, and then the last thing Hollywood needs is another blonde-haired, blue-eyed
martial arts expert.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where we get into, okay, if you're part of our generation, then when you were young, you at some point very likely wanted to be a ninja at some point in your life.
You probably saw that movie Three Ninjas and was like,
possibly
American Ninja.
Yes, there you go.
1,
Yes.
2, 3, and 4.
I would say that the martial arts film craze directly led into the ninja craze. And the ninja craze is what directly leads us into the era of what is commonly referred to as bullshido. This is, if you couldn't tell, utterly fucking ignorant, stupid, false. It's a bastardization.
Mike, I feel like you're about to tell me that someone really, really terrible was the forefront of this.
Oh, I've got a couple of them. Check this shit out. Okay, so not long after Bruce Lee died, if anyone here in our audience, I guess we're the only ones that like comics according to our analytics. But if you read comics from the Silver Age, perhaps you saw the advertisements for one Count Dante, the deadliest kung fu hands in the world. The expert who brought, quote-unquote, Dim Mac to America. Dim Mac, also known as the Touch of Death.
Don't cross me, Goy.
Count Dante was the dude in the comic book ads with the afro, white dude, and he's like doing the tiger hands, and it's like, hey, for $5, you too can learn the secrets of killing someone with a touch. Because, hey, who wouldn't want tons and tons of comic book nerds to have that fucking knowledge? His real name was... His full name was Count Juan Rafael Dante, which, if you didn't notice, was both Spanish and Italian. And he practiced Asian martial arts all the way in the mystical land of Chicago. He set up the Black Dragon Fighting Society. Supposedly, he participated in several secret death matches in front of crowds of thousands. I'm not
Secret
quite
in front of thousands.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
I'm glad you caught the irony. Money from the back comics would help to further fund his dojos. He was actually, in fact, an Irish-American hairdresser by the name of John Keehan.
Wait.
Is that where he learned his style?
Quite possibly.
Wait.
Styling.
Hairdresser.
Yeah. Oh, he was also a used car salesman and a pornographer. And being that he did those jobs in Chicago, he's also possibly had some mob ties. Now...
Which clearly just leads you directly into the martial arts, right?
Yeah.
Man, we went from dignified to don't touch that.
Yeah. Well, see, this is the negative effect.
This is
of
the
what
neighborhood
we're
we don't
talking
go
about.
in.
Oh.
Yeah. He was a white afroed man who tried to fight Muhammad Ali one time by showing up at his house unannounced and unexpected. He tried to fight Ali, and Ali was like, I'm not going to kill that cracker. I'm not going outside. Just whatever. But some people do say that at least Count Dante had the balls or the insanity, to put his dim mac where his mouth was. Let's see, what else?
That sounded phallic, Mike.
It sounded crazy and dumb.
Yeah. Or both.
Yeah.
He was also briefly imprisoned. He was put on probation for trying to dynamite a rival dojo. I believe it was the Black Cobra Fighting Society.
Why didn't he just try to kick it down like a real martial artist?
Well, see, what happened was later. This is a separate incident, actually. He tried to dynamite one dojo, but then at a later date, I guess after he got off probation and didn't learn his lesson, this is when he and several accomplices from the Black Dragon Fighting Society, his dojo, pretended to dress up as sheriffs. And they showed up and stormed. This was the Black Cobra Dojo incident. They showed up and stormed the Black Cobra Dojo, which led to the death of his friend Jim Konkovic, who was also a student of his. He was primed to be the next Bruce Lee, apparently. But because he was such a dickhead and refused to pull his punches, he injured numerous co-stars. And his fucking career, sadly, felt the touch of Dim Mac. Allegedly, he also took part in a vault robbery that ended up stealing $3.4 million. Hence, also, once again, back to the Chicago mob ties.
This would make Bruce Lee proud.
Quite possibly. And much like Bruce Lee, he died in his sleep, but he died from a bleeding ulcer.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Much like, I'll say unlike many of these bullshido artists, Count Dante did actually fight in verified competitions, numerous, and he won tons of fucking awards. And there's lots of people who, despite his comic book kooky horseshit, there are many people who still remember Count Dante as a bit of a legend and a gentleman. And I will say, to his credit, he was one of the first people in Chicago who taught Black and Hispanic students karate or martial arts, which the U.S. Karate Association did not want to happen. So he was a bit of a, civil rights forefront guy, martial arts.
Man, all the walls you got to break down in the weirdest fucking places.
Don't they?
Man. It's just in the weirdest fucking places, man.
Where we learn to fight is where we learn to bond.
It's where no one's looking. Next up, we have, oh God, this fucking guy. Okay, Yoshida Kim. Yoshida Kim, perhaps you've heard of him. He's written many, many books on such such subjects as ninja mind control, ninja invisibility, secrets that are forbidden of the ninja technique.
Forbidden secret ninja technology.
Yeah, right here in this book for $10.50. He ended up falling out big time with some of his publishers. Actually, he has a website. If you go to it, he's got Yoshida Kim's official shit list, dating back to the 1970s, actually, of all the people who've done him fucking wrong.
Damn, dude, is he mad about stuff still?
Dude, this guy looks like a take no shit substitute teacher. There's videos of him like crawling on a wooden fence, or like he knocks a dude out and like covers him with a blanket because ninjas always cover their tracks.
Is he the ninja equivalent of
He's the ninja equivalent of a children's birthday party clown or magician. That's what he is.
John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah. In addition to all his books on ninja secrets, which were in fact some of the best-selling books on ninja bullshit, he also wrote The Amorous Adventures of Yoshida Kim, where he was positioned as a bodyguard to a brothel in South Africa.
Oh, a versatile.
Because
guy.
when you think South African brothel, you think ninja. I do. Yeah. Supposedly, he had many sexual encounters with the
ninjas,
the women who worked there. Yeah, played fucking peekaboo with the nunchucks. I guess I don't know.
Do you think they were going to medical school?
I very much doubt it. I very much doubt anything in that fucking book or any of the books he wrote happened.
I used to hang out with Lou Diamond Phillips and do all kinds of cool stuff.
Now, let's not go too hard on Yoshida Kim, the man with a Japanese first name and a Korean surname, whose real name is actually Radford Davis from Lake Alfred, Florida.
Very exotic.
Yeah. Oh, did I also mention that he teaches bullet dodging?
Does he?
Yeah. It's in one of his videos.
Did he teach Keanu Reeves?
Maybe. I wouldn't doubt it. He too claims to be a member of the Black Dragon Fighting Society, or at least he had their logo up on his website until he was sued to take it the fuck down in 2007
by the Black Panthers.
What?
I said by the Black Panthers.
No, by people who were related. Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, let's not dog too hard on old Yoshida Kim because he's been known to be litigious. Also, if you would like to test Yoshida Kim himself in a fight for $10,000 that you pay him, including all expenses paid for his entire dojo homies to come along. You got to pay for their food, expenses, travel, etc., as well as a $25K appearance fee, apparently. So, fuck, you're looking at, I don't know, $50K to bring this fucking guy out of the woodwork?
Well, he must be big shit, man.
Yeah. You also have to sign a waiver that says he is not liable for any opponents being crippled, maimed, or injured, or even dying from his instant ninja death touch, as well as, oh boy, this fucking guy.
This reminds me of the Chaos Magicians suing each other over losing their egos.
It's almost exactly the same kind of shit. Yeah, he teaches levitation. God, I can't even believe I just said that. No, he's got a video of his levitation abilities on YouTube where his fucking student.
It's pretty fucking sweet, huh?
His student takes a hula hoop and turns it under him and then turns it back around and pretends it went out the whole way. I don't know what the fuck's going on there. I gotta say, my sources on this were a series of 2 videos called The Madness of Make-Believe Martial Arts on YouTube by a fella named Napoleon Bonaparte. They're fucking hilarious. I strongly suggest you check them out. Third runner-up is a cult. Let's call it what it is. called Yellow Bamboo, which there's
it's the community utilizing leisure time, sir.
yeah, right.
Yellow Bamboo, Jesus.
Yeah. Their main proponent is a fellow by the name of Dr. quote unquote Alvin Donovan III, and the fighting style was developed in Bali, of all places, apparently. Mr. Dr. Alvin Donovan was for a time there wanted for alleged hedge fund fraud. The Yellow Bamboo website claims that the fighting style is an official magic as opposed to unofficial magic.
Define unofficial magic.
I have no fucking idea. But they do claim that they can teach you to levitate. In fact, their old website showed a picture of a guy levitating. I'm sure it wasn't doctored in any way. You can learn to control the universe as well as knock people out without touching them, which fucking I don't know why they would put that in there if you can fucking...
Those are totally relevant.
Yeah.
Well, goddamn, we can knock out a guy without touching him by hitting him with a taser.
Yeah, it's like Ghostbusters. It's like once you stop the fucking apocalypse, it's not really, who gives a shit?
It's like when people like when that that movie The Secret came out and people were like, oh yeah, I would totally manifest money in a sports car. It's like you could manifest traversing the cosmos at your will, and that's what you want.
Yeah, there's another dude who got involved more like, oh god, these fucking people. Okay, Yellow Bamboo is like still around. They've toned it down a bit, but they still consider
call it what it is, white bamboo.
They consider themselves a form of white magic. Yeah, there's another dude who is more up-to-date recently involved in MMA by the name of Joshua Fabia, who is also a fucking megalomaniacal, crazy asshole. I don't know. The less said about that guy, the better, really. Look, just watch the Napoleon blown apart videos. My God, they're hilarious. But the Yellow Bamboo cults, oh boy. There's a scene in this film called 3 Miles North of Malcolm, I believe is it's Swedish, the name place or whatever. Anyways, it's about this festival in Sweden called Ångsdasha, which is basically like a flea market for cults. You just go there and try out whatever the fuck you want. I don't know. But there's a scene in the movie where, oh man, these poor people. I almost feel bad talking shit about them. But there's one scene where this woman and there's a couple other dudes, and like I think one of the prerequisites of practicing Yellow Bamboo is looking and sounding like a total fucking jackass. But this woman, she's like got her hands clasped together in prayer mode or whatever, and she's like shaking and she's like, and I guess she's like supposed to be gathering up her chi, etc., whatever. And this dickhead with a ponytail takes a running fucking charge at her and knocks her right the fuck out. And you see all this blood just instantly hit the ground. And to, I guess, draw attention away from her or absolve himself of fucking this old woman up, he starts like faking a chi seizure and just like shake it on the ground like this. He falls on the exit. Yeah. And as soon as he snaps out of this chi seizure, he looks at everyone else and he's like, where the fuck were you guys? Where the fuck were you guys? Why did you stop me from hitting you? But you'll notice that when he does this shit towards the men, they're able to chi blast his ass in 6 yards of him even coming fucking anywhere near them, the dickhead. You might also want to check out the 3 Miles North of Malcolm movie. There's another fella by the name of George Dillman who, oddly enough, used to be a legit fucking martial artist. Like, he's won all kinds of tournaments. He's got a storied career. He was a security guard for Muhammad Ali himself, actually, to bring him up again. But these days, George Dillman seems to be focused on a new fighting technique known as EFO, or empty force opposition, a.k.a. no-touch knockouts, kind of like we were talking about with the Cult of Bamboo or whatever. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's just video after video of some dickhead who looks like Rodney Dangerfield in a gi shooting invisible force rays at people, and they just fall down. And it's like nobody will just say like, oh man, I don't know. Nat Geo ran a special on this dude, right? To, calculate his fucking crazy exotic chi powers or whatever. They had a man who worked for the crew of Nat Geo stand in line or whatever and had his students, George Dillman's students and George Dillman himself, I believe, try to no-touch knockout this guy. And he's just standing there like, no, nothing. He himself also looked like a party magician, now that I think about it. George Dillman comes out later and he's like, well, you see, the reason it didn't work on him is he's non-believer. So you have to believe that you're going to get your ass kicked, apparently. George Dillman also said, he's like, I'm not sure if I should mention this, but, also, if you touch the roof of your mouth with your tongue or put both your toes up, that also counteracts the... So he gave away his whole fighting style, how to get around it. I don't understand what the fuck's going on there. But I have to say, out of this little rabbit hole that I've been led down, the number one gold star champion piece of shit out of all of these people, little fella by the name of Steven Seagal. Now, I don't get a very emotional response very often about the people we talk about or study, but I knew the guy was a piece of shit, but oh my God, the man has no sense of self-awareness whatsoever. He is a fucking piece of shit. He's one of those old white blues guys who plays the guitar like he's fucking trying to choke the life out of it, which is ironic because
it's George Carlin said, "House of lame white motherfuckers."
Exactly, yeah, like Bruce Willis. It's the same shit, dude. Yeah, he plays the guitar like he's trying to choke the shit out of it, which is ironic because he did the same thing to Kelly LeBrock, his second wife. He used to beat the shit out of her. She's the girl from Weird Science, the movie, not the TV show, who he married while he's still married to his first wife back in Japan, where he supposedly fought the Yakuza, but apparently that was just him telling some drunk guy to shut up. And the story got conflated. What else? Oh, he claims to have worked for the CIA. He's an Aikido black belt. He was a lawman, as I'm sure some of us are aware. He was also, man, this is a part I really don't understand. He was selected, possibly by Putin, to act as a special cultural envoy from the U.S. to Russia. Knowing Putin and his kind of fucked up sense of humor, this could all be a joke on Steven Seagal. But there's footage of, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Like, they made him some kind of, like, weird folk saint or some shit. There's footage of him dancing. You know how Mac from Always Sunny does the karate dancing?
Yeah.
Dude, there's, like, a Russian woman doing this, like, ceremonial ancient Russian dance, like performing
ceremonial ancient Russian karate chop dancing.
Yeah, he busts out with the Mac moves and starts dancing and shit, and then they like feed him Russian carrots. Oh god. He was also I don't know, more or less knighted, for lack of a better term, by the Dalai fucking Lama for some reason. But hey, the Dalai Lama also hung around with Shoko Asahara, the fucking Japanese cult leader who, you know, was responsible for the 1997 nerve gas bombings or whatever. And
hey, Mike.
Yeah.
What's the Dalai Lama's favorite pizza?
What?
One with everything.
Oh, I heard the same joke, but with hot dogs. And it was a Zen master, not the Dalai Lama.
Well, it's the Dalai Lama in this one, so there you go.
Yeah.
And when he heard that joke on Australian news, on Wake Up Australia or whatever their equivalent is, I don't know, one person in Australia and Margaret Lake that's listening. Thank you. You'll know. You might remember when they said when
there was actually he was on Entertainment Tonight in Australia. Steven Seagal was, and during the interview, the woman who was talking to him, she said
she got choked out too.
She might have gotten pretty close to it. It turns out that Steven Seagal has a bit of a bad habit of harassing and just bugging the shit out of his female co-stars. And last I heard, this little documentary I pulled most of this info from, I believe this is made in 2020. So at that time, he had at least 4 rape allegations against him.
Good.
And
Damn.
yeah, as soon as the interview lady brought it up, he just took off his microphone and walked out. So, I mean, he didn't say no. See how that doubles around?
Yeah.
You see how that works both ways?
That's true. He didn't.
I've got a quote regarding Steven Seagal's Buddha nature. I'll try and read it like how he...
Crack an egg of knowledge on me, Mike. I want to hear this shit.
I'll try to read it like how he does all his characters in the movies that are coming straight out to DVD and YouTube.
What do you think his influence is? Monotone Jones?
There's an old Zen story of 2 monks that were walking across the bridge. And the junior monk said to the teacher, he said, "What is the Buddha nature?" He says, "Butter." He must be hungry. The old monk picked him up and threw him in the water. You know? I have no idea what the fuck that means, if it means anything.
I feel like a crowd applause needs to be added to the end of that. Yeah.
No, that's my breath escaping.
Steven Seagal gas.
That's what they call the rail.
Oh, what else? Let's see. My God, his sparring footage is some of the saddest shit I've ever seen. Once again, it's a big old fat man in a gi. He's putting in the absolute littlest amount of effort in throwing people left and right. I think they're doing most of the throwing of their own bodies, if you ask me. But hey,
he's only fighting stuntmen.
Go to the tape.
And women's.
That's another thing. The sad, effortless, and fat, still making movies serial liar is always acting. He's got, like I said, a long history of harassment and abuse.
He does have long hair.
Yeah, and quite a goatee, quite a butt broom on his face. He's a bully who's known to purposely hit stuntmen, and even once broke Sean Connery's wrist. Which too bad they didn't beat the shit out of each other, because as we all know, Sean Connery likes to give a little smack, open hand smack to his ladies.
Just the open hand, not the fist.
As a matter of fact, due to him having a reputation for not pulling his punches with stuntmen, one of the most famous stuntmen and a participant in the very first MMA fight ever in the United States, what was it? It was boxing versus judo. This fella by the name of Jean Lebel. Seagal claimed his Aikido skills made him invulnerable to being choked out. And so LaBelle decided, hey, you like to fucking hit stuntmen, you like to hit ladies, and you can't be choked out. Check this out. And he proceeded to choke the shit out of Steven Seagal. And I mean that literally, because, yes, he took a dump in his pants.
Man.
Oh, throw your shitty gi in the hamper, buddy.
Man, that's a real humbling moment.
Yeah, isn't it? Man, I mean, it's bad enough to wake up after getting knocked out, but to wake up with shit in your pants
after getting knocked out.
Could you imagine him like giving like a master class or something like that? Dude. And then you take a shit in your pants.
He trained, quote unquote, Tito Ortiz, world famous MMA fighter. Once again, that might have just been a joke on Tito Ortiz.
Yeah.
Man, all I'm thinking right now is how terrible Street Fighter would be if they put Steven Seagal.
Or if Mortal Kombat made Johnny Cage a big fat asshole. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you know what? It'd be more like realistic.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't think he can do the splits anymore.
I got one closing tidbit of information, and man, if we ever implored you to go out and do a little homework and look something up, you're just not gonna believe it. This is gonna blow your mind. But in addition to being a shitty old white blues musician, Steven Seagal has also made Jamaican dancehall music, and I want you all to go out there and look out a little song called Strut, where you get to hear Steven Seagal whisper something about coming in a girl's ear. Not coming. He whispers into her ear about coming, excuse me. But you also several times get to hear Steven Seagal say the phrase, "Me want da punani." I'm fucking serious. Me want the punani. And then the Jamaican lady sings, and she's like, hear me, Steven? Dude, it is the most cringiest shit I've ever heard. I felt instantly uncomfortable for everyone in the fucking recording studio, people who were in the building next door to the recording
physically recoiled in his seat when he played it for us while he was laughing.
It raped me in the ear.
Yeah. You all need to go check this out because it's just...
this is an affront to good Rasta music, man.
Yeah.
Fucking goddamn.
Hey, man, I like, Sly and Robbie and King Tubby and all that old dub shit. And
Truth in the Maze Hells and Phyllis Dillon, all that shit right there, man. Goddamn.
Oh boy, yeah, it's pretty fucking awful, man. I gotta say, just closing out on this whole bullshito thing, I cannot recommend enough the Napoleon Blown Apart 2-part series on YouTube about fake martial arts. Goddamn, it is hilarious.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, go check it out. There's your extra homework. And also beware of bullshit artists. Obviously, I don't need to tell you that.
Bullshito.
In any genre.
Yeah, for some reason, these people have followers and, students who call them master and sensei and sifu, etc. It's just a cult. It's the exact same, mind games at work and bullshit. Yeah. It's someone who touts
it's a
himself.
Goddamn orgone energy accumulator.
No, what the fuck they're talking about. And that's my closing statement. Thank you.
Hey guys, fucking thank you so much for listening to us. We really enjoy when you guys listen to us. We love to see the numbers fucking hit the fucking top.
Oh, you drunk ass.
Yeah, right. Anyways, we love it when you guys listen. We love it when you guys engage. And please listen and engage. And you can hit us up at facebook.com/Kooks, Cranks, and Iconoclast Podcast. JLo.
You can, if you want to email us, you can hit us at KC and I, spelled out and I, cast at gmail.com. And if you want to hit up our
website,
fantastic website, just hit us up at kooks-cranks-and-iconoclast.com.
Updated every week. Not just with new episodes, but graphics and extra goodies. So check it out.
You can donate on our website page under Ko-fi. There's like a little indication of a cup. You can buy me a coffee. So it's usually about $5. We'd really appreciate it. It'll go a long way to making this show a lot better for you.
Yeah. So please, get in the spirit of giving. Christmas in July.
I don't want to have to get Jerry Lee Lewis here again, but
that's why we busted a whole load of kids.
Yeah.
That's the old Jerry Lewis. So I'm not going to do the young Jerry Lewis again because I'm sure that people found it super fucking annoying last time I did it. But that's Jerry Lewis.
Yeah, and you'll notice that this time we didn't do a bit, and that's because we really, really, really don't want to fuck with Bruce Lee, and we really don't want to fuck with Linda Howe. So, thank you.
Yeah, they've gotten enough grief, I think.
Yeah.
But Steven Seagal, you can talk shit about him all you want. He's a fucking piece of shit. He's a wife beater.
That whole segment was an editorial, so.
It was editorial, sure, but it's factual information. I will say that.
There are court records, apparently.
Yeah. Anywho,
we love you, and we think you're great.
Yeah, we do. Thanks for coming by again. And, oh yeah, next week, tune in. We're going to be talking geopolitics. We're going to a little place called Africa.
And also, happy birthday, Margaret. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Margaret.
Happy birthday, Margaret. I didn't know it was your birthday.
So, happy birthday, Margaret. Happy birthday, Christian.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday, Christian.
You guys are two very important people to me. And thank you for your monthly contributions.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
I'm going to take off now.
We're coming for you, Barbara.
See you later.
Bye.